Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to your Royal Rumble 2019 preview and predictions. Notification squad, where you at? This is going to be incredible. We both have our picks made. We want to know what everyone else is picking as we go. But right now, guys, we want to let everyone in on the game. If you are new to TWitWoW, we play a Royal Rumble prediction game every year. It goes in 3 phases. The first phase is your typical preview and predictions. Who's going to win which matches? The second phase is confidence-based point allocation, determining who you think is going to do certain things in the Royal Rumble. Most years, we are predicting the number 30 entrant, but because we know who's going to be number 30 in both of the Rumbles this year, we reduced it down from 30 to 29. But every year we also predict who's going to be the number 1 entrant, who's going to be the number 2 entrant, who's going to last the longest, who's going to last the least amount of time, who's going to get the most eliminations, what 4 people are going to be in the final 4, and who, of course, is going to win the Royal Rumble. And we're doing that now this year and last year as well for both the men's and women's Royal Rumbles. The third and final phase is basically a draft where John, my mom, and I each choose 10 numbers representing the entrant numbers in each Royal Rumble, and whoever randomly decides that they are going to choose the number that ends up being the one that belongs to the winner of said Royal Rumble wins that phase. So, that being said, let's get right into our first phase, our main match predictions phase. We are going to include the pre-show this year. I think we actually excluded the pre-show last year, but the pre-show involves championships and it's a little more important this year. So we are going to include the pre-show, the kickoff, whatever you want to call it. Before we get into that though, John, how fucking excited are you to get it?
Brother, like I have been hyping this all week. I have been so fucking stoked for it. And I even let slip during TakeOver Phoenix preview and predictions, which if you guys are hyped for that TakeOver tomorrow night, you guys can go on the channel and listen to our preview and predictions there, that my hype for Phoenix was a 9.5 out of 10. This Royal Rumble right here is a 10 out of 10. I can't remember the last time I was this excited for a Royal Rumble that wasn't just contingent on the Rumble matches themselves, because this is one of those Royal Rumbles, and I personally find that to be a rarity, where even like the undercard matches that aren't the main attractions really are just fucking superb. Top to bottom, I'm looking forward to this. I even said on Phoenix Preview Predictions that I feel like the weakest match on this card for me, not counting the pre-show stuff, is the SmackDown Tag Titles. And even that on the side of the challengers, Miz and Shane, I think has had an amazing and really intriguing story that's going places that I didn't think it would go. So, yeah, man, I'm hyped as fuck for this. I think if they play their cards right, this could be one of the best Rumbles that WWE has had in years. And I am here for all of it, man. Let's do this shit.
I'm going to be upfront with you, brother. I know Evolution was a thing, and that was a great show. But I think this might be the best-looking women's pay-per-view card I've ever seen WWE put out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just between the 2 women's title matches and then the women's Royal Rumble, which I'm very excited to get to. This card, as far as the women's side at least, is absolutely stacked. And then you look at the guys, and we've got the men's Royal Rumble, obviously. We've got Brock Finn, which has gotten a great type of hype over the last couple of weeks. We've got Bryan Styles, which we know is going to deliver. And even the tag titles should be fun. And the pre-show matches, the kickoff matches, we've got the Cruiserweight title and the US title both on the line in matches that should be at the very least entertaining, if not specifically regarding the Cruiserweight title, spectacular, right?
Yeah, absolutely, dude. Completely agree.
All right, man. Well, let's get into it then. The first match that we are going to predict is the first kickoff match, and I would argue the less important of the two, unfortunately. Rusev defending the U.S. title against Shinsuke Nakamura.
Yeah, you know what, man? Since I went first on TakeOver Phoenix Preview Predictions yesterday, you go first on this one. What are you thinking, man?
Oh, yeah, no problem. So my logic is pretty simple. Rusev just won the title. I don't expect him to drop it this quickly, so I just have Rusev retaining.
Yeah, I'm pretty much in agreement with you. I think Shinsuke is going to get his comeuppance for quote unquote hurting Lana, which is kind of absurd when you really unpack it, but I have no intention of doing that here. So Rusev to retain.
All right, that was quick and easy. Let's move on. We've got the Cruiserweight Championship defended by Buddy Murphy. Challengers being Akira Tozawa, Hideo Itami, and Kalisto. John, who are you going to be picking here?
I'm actually going to go out on a limb. I'm going to go with my boy Hideo Itami becoming Cruiserweight Champion. I feel like he's got a second lease on life since aligning with Arya Daivari. He's got a lot of momentum. And because we know that the logic of like, oh, how'd they do on the go-home show doesn't really apply, just because he has all the momentum doesn't mean he's going to lose. Maybe they're just giving him all the credibility in advance to become Cruiserweight Champion, and that's what I'm banking on, Hideo, for the win.
And I think you and I both want big things for Itami. I think I might even have my sights set a little higher than you because I have Buddy Murphy retaining here in the hopes that Itami moves up to SmackDown to really legitimately do stuff with Bryan.
Yeah, I mean, Bryan did have that video like saying if me and Itami ever cross paths, I would, dude, to say I would fucking love that would be the understatement of the millennium. But I'm actually kind of pulling a you in this case where I'm keeping my expectations pretty grounded for the time being, given the precedent they've established with Itami.
Which makes sense. Yeah. So yeah, you're picking Itami. I am picking Murphy to retain. And I also do want to kind of fill everyone in on the picks that my mom made because she is a part of this as well. She picked Rusev to retain and Murphy to retain as well. So she and I have the same picks there. Up next, though, we've got the SmackDown Live tag title match. We have The Bar, Sheamus and Cesaro, defending against what is, I believe, known now as the best tag team in the world, Shane McMahon and The Miz. John, I guess I go first here. This is probably the non-Rumble match that I struggled the most with. And I think at the end of the day, I landed on, it's funny because the reason I struggled with it is because of the possibility of The Miz winning the Royal Rumble. I really strongly considered The Miz to be my Rumble winner for a while. But once I backed off of that, I realized that it would make sense for the best tag team in the world to win the tag titles here. So I've got Shane and Miz winning and winning the titles.
You know, it's funny that you talk about like Miz winning the Rumble, which would like imply like big plans at Mania, because my struggle was, do they win the tag titles and defend them at Mania, or do they lose here? Because you know what I've been saying for the longest time, and I don't think it's a secret. I think I've said it on SmackDown Live Reactions. I think that Miz is getting the Shane match this year at Mania, which in WWE's mind is a big deal. So I'm trying to be happy for The Miz, even though I think his work the past 2 years, I'm actually with you. He deserves to be in like that world title picture. Those are the conversations we should be having about him. But then I realized, well, you could do both because there is a pay-per-view in between this and Mania. So I'm actually going to go with best tag team in the world winning. But I still think at the end of the day, at Mania, we're going to get Miz versus Shane for that fucking trophy that I hate with a passion personally. But that's another commentary for another time. So I'm going to go with best tag team in the world.
All right. Well, I just want to fill everyone in. My mom picked The Bar to retain, which is a perfectly logical pick. John and I are the ones reaching here, I think.
Very interesting. Very interesting. All right.
Next up, we've got, now this is where the reaches really begin, at least for me. And actually, my mom and I agree on most of these. So for both of us, SmackDown Women's Championship on, we've got Asuka defending the title against Becky Lynch, and you get to go first here.
Dude, first of all, because I was really looking forward to this, so we can just pump the brakes a little bit, just take it all in. I mean, you said it best in the intro. This fucking women's card for this Rumble, dude. Oh my God. How long have I personally been saying, like, I want Becky versus Asuka? Because I know that's a match I've been saying, like, to a few people. Maybe you guys in chat have even heard me say it, that I have wanted for a few years. And I always used to say, too, if they're going to do it, it should be at a big four. To think that I could have so many conditions and WWE pretty much gets it all right is just unbelievable in the best way. I am hyped as fuck for this. I'm actually really torn which women's match I'm looking forward to more between this and Sasha Ronda, and of course the Women's Rumble, but just between the two title matches, which one I prefer, because I think they both have their strengths and what have you. And then with who wins, I mean, I just kept it simple because I've been very myopic, I think, in my vision for the Rumble, which could be detrimental unless you're right. And then you're like, oh, thank God they didn't entertain other possibilities. So I'm going to go with Asuka to retain. But I am hyped as fuck for this. Should be an amazing match.
And I think that is the reasonable pick. I think that if we were to look at betting odds, Asuka would probably be the odds-on favorite to retain. If I was a betting man, if I wanted to go with the smart money, I would put it on Asuka. But I had to go with it, man. I have a vision, and here's the way I basically hedged my bets. I have a vision for what I think is going to happen and what I want to happen, and if it happens that way, I look like a genius. And if it doesn't, I already knew that I was stretching and reaching and going out on a limb anyway, so it's not that big of a deal. But here's my vision, John. I predict that Becky will win the SmackDown Women's Championship. And then later on in the night, and this leads into our next match, cost Ronda Rousey the Raw Women's Championship.
Yeah, I gotta be honest with you, man. Okay. I'm sticking to my guns. And for real this time, because I always say that and then I jump ship. But you talking about Becky meddling and Ronda's that's where I really struggle, dude. Because Becky being this badass character, and she kind of established this like at TLC, she doesn't let things slide. She got her comeuppance on Nia, but now Ronda started shit, and Ronda's been starting shit for a while. And Becky not returning fire would seem suspect to me. So I think that's a very legitimate point you raise. I don't know if I could fully commit, man. That is a bold vision, though, and if it comes true, man, that's quite a path for Mania. So if we were assigning a point value to this, how many points would you give this? How much confidence do you have that this vision might actually happen, given all the
minimum, bare minimum, Because
okay.
I think that I don't necessarily think that my vision is the most likely one to play out, but it's the one that has a minuscule of likelihood to play out that I'm most excited about.
Right. Oh man, it's a beautiful vision though. But as is par for the course on TWitWoW, you show me a beautiful vision, I get sucked in, and more often than not,
don't you dare.
No, and
I
won't.
Dare change your mind.
And that's the thing. That's what I was just saying. Like I get sucked in. And then maybe it's never 100% correct. Maybe it's like 80, maybe even 90, but it's very rare that it's 100% on the nose. And because of that, I can't take the risk. But if you're right about this, not only will I explicitly call you a god on live reactions, but I think it's one hell of a path for WrestleMania for the women, because that's how you tell a fucking story. So that is a risk, though, man. I wish you luck with it. Oh man.
Yeah, I'm picking Becky and Sasha both to win their respective titles. But specifically, I think Becky will win hers on her own merits, and I think Sasha is going to win because of Becky. I think that WWE kind of realizes now what they have in Becky, and I think that they're going to actually take advantage of that by really kind of centering both women's divisions around her in a way.
Yeah, that I see it, but just I can't commit to it. This really is going to be something where I think I'm actually rooting for you, but not to my own detriment. So we'll see.
No, that's good. That's healthy. That's good.
Yeah, I'm rooting for you from a distance. I'll put it that way.
Yeah, it's like the old "I'm right behind you, bud," as you follow from 50 feet behind.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm technically not lying, but that's really behind. So I guess we transition to talking about Sasha Ronda.
Yeah, I really like. Basically, the way I see it is there are two possible routes here. I think that either both women's champions retain, and Becky or Charlotte or both win the Rumble, or my scenario happens, which I'll tell you who I have winning the Rumble then later.
All right. Can I just say, to open discussions about Sasha Ronda, if I could just take the ball on this one. I love. Wait, what was that?
I can be serious for a moment.
If I could be serious, yeah. I love our fans, like in the chat, because even they've kind of given me ideas. It's this kind of wonderful delirium when you start fantasy booking. It's narcotic because you just can't stop. And I think, was it Mark Schoeneman that clapped back to South Newton? Yeah, it was. That like, oh, she can be Raw Women's Champion, this being Sasha Banks, and contend for the tag titles. Can you imagine, dude? Like, if we got Becky, Ronda, and fuck Charlotte, but we'll get to all that later because we'll have a lot more to say about that when we get to Women's Rumble. But then on the Raw side, right, you'd have women's tag team champions Sasha and Bayley facing each other for the Raw Women's Championship. Yep. I would fucking salivate, dude. I'd be like, holy shit, because then you have a natural mechanism. Whoever wins that match, and presumably it would be Bayley, at least in my mind. Sasha would grow envious, sabotage the tag title reign, and then we finally get that big women's championship feud between these two. Cosmic. But that hasn't happened yet. There hasn't even been an inkling that that's going to happen. So let me pump the brakes and let's talk about what we know is going to happen, Sasha and Ronda, because I actually have quite a bit to say about this. I think the last time I was this fucking excited for a Sasha Banks match, mainly because I had the confidence in the writing and the people involved in this and that, was probably her match with Bayley at Brooklyn, honestly, because you knew
respect.
Yeah, exactly. Or respect, yeah, because you knew how personal the story was. You knew just how substantive the story was. Sasha's fire in talking about and to Ronda on the mic has been second to none. And here's the thing, too, and I've got to be honest, because I try and remember some things that I say on Twitter to carry over into the podcast. I actually tweeted, I was surprised how much fire the tweet caught. Ronda Rousey might be one of the best things to happen to Sasha Banks, because outside of the kayfabe that they've constructed here, Ronda adores Sasha. It's like she feels like she's this wrestling savant in a good way. It's not pejoratively speaking. Yeah. And I tweeted that this matters. Ronda's perception of Sasha matters because Ronda's the type of figure that I think her fan, maybe not so much anymore with how she uses social media on wrestling, but I would still think for a lot of people, she's a kind of authority. Her opinion matters to them. So Ronda's fans, when her and Sasha go out and tear it up, and I do think they'll tear it up, they become Sasha's fans. And that carryover, I think, is going to be huge for Sasha's career. That's at least my expectation. I've even wondered when they're so passionate if they should call it in the ring or what, because they just seem both so excited to work with each other, and that's what makes this match exciting. Sasha hasn't been in this spot for a long time, so she's itching to fucking prove something, and Ronda, it's practically hero worship with Sasha, so she's going to be very receptive to a lot of Sasha's ideas. Oh, hey, Ronda, let's do this together. So I think when you've got all that to consider, this could be Ronda's best match in her WWE tenure thus far, and it may be by a country mile when it's all over. But who wins? That's where I struggle, man.
You already filled this out? What?
I already filled this out, but I mean, it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy, but I am standing by what I wrote. I do think Ronda's going to win, but I don't think anybody's going to make her look more vulnerable as of now, because, we obviously still have Mania and stuff, than Sasha. Sasha will easily be her toughest test yet, and it's going to be amazing to watch, I think.
Yeah.
So.
All right. So you have Asuka and Ronda both retaining, and my mom and I both have Becky and Sasha winning the titles.
Yes.
Okay. Now, who are you picking to win Bryan Styles?
This may be where I'm going out on a limb. For the third time, your WWE champion, AJ Styles.
Wow. Okay. I did not see that coming. Wow. Okay. I straight up, my mom and I both picked Bryan to win and retain. So this is quite the revelation. I'm very curious to know, first of all, what your logic is behind Styles winning the title, and second of all, what's next for both these guys if that does happen.
Can I just say first and foremost, I don't want Styles to win. I just want to make that explicitly clear. I want Bryan to retain. Right. I think this work has been the best of his career, and I am loving every fucking second of it. He even keeps kayfabe in legitimate news interviews. I saw a little clip today. This dude just gets it.
Why is it really kayfabe when he's literally just shouting things that he genuinely believes and being a dick about it?
You're all right, Ashton. But to me, and the logic is really bare bones. I'll be the first to say it. AJ is a Vince guy. WWE has given him so much. I honestly believe, and I think I said this a while back, when those rumors came out that AJ was like doing negotiations and he was really fighting, like, I want to spend more time with my family, whatever. I feel like if that wasn't even an issue, if AJ had just stayed mum about the whole thing, he'd probably still be WWE champion to this day. Like, there is just something about AJ and the McMahon's perception of AJ that has done, I think, great business for both parties. And I think when you look at the marquee of Mania, I think AJ has more goodwill right now recently that they want him in that spot. I'm even amazed that Bryan is world champion. Pleasantly so, don't get me wrong. But I never thought he'd sniff the damn thing again, given everything. But I think that AJ is going to go on his third run because they want him in that big marquee match at Mania for the WWE Championship. Now, who's on the other side? I couldn't even fucking tell you because I legitimately don't even know right now on the roster, given the people that AJ's already run through, who would be a viable contender. And as far as who Bryan would work with, again, that's really tough for me to say. Maybe, and I hate to think about it, but maybe with Rusev retaining the U.S. title, maybe Bryan goes after that. That U.S. title was the first championship he ever held. And given that he's so critical of America especially, what better thing than the United States Championship? Be like, I may be the United States champion, but the United States freaking sucks. And it's an actual, like, Native American, guy in the U.S., saying all of this stuff. So I think that could be an interesting concept. So I'll even just say that maybe that's probably what they'll do with Bryan. AJ's first contender, though, for Mania for the WWE title, no freaking clue. Because again, he's run through everybody. I just have this feeling that, Vince talking about the real AJ Styles and putting all of this on, like, AJ and having all this faith, it's Vince McMahon. And I just feel like because of that, like, AJ's going to take it all the way. So yeah, AJ to regain the WWE Championship, and we'll see where we go from here.
Very, very interesting. I did go with Bryan to retain, and as far as who his opponent might be at WrestleMania, I'm very unsure of that. Maybe Nakamura turns face. Maybe it's Rey Mysterio. I think Nakamura would make a lot of sense since we kind of found out a while ago that the reason Nakamura came to WWE in the first place was to face Bryan. I just don't think most of us expected that it would be, a situation where Bryan was the heel and Nakamura was the face. Like that, I don't think many people would have expected that.
Right? Yeah, for sure.
Maybe they go forward with the Miz if Miz and Shane don't win here, or if they lose the titles before WrestleMania. I don't know exactly where I would go with it, but I do really appreciate you picking Styles because, again, my mom and I both picked Bryan on this, so you're just changing things up, and that's awesome.
Yeah, couldn't shake it, man.
Next up, we had the Universal title, and this is the final match that we will count towards this initial predictions phase. And for the Universal title, my mom picked Finn Balor to win the title, and I am picking Brock to retain.
And it's going to sound hypocritical for me as the guy who just picked AJ to have his third WWE Championship reign, but I didn't want to overthink this, so I'm with you, Ashton. I picked Brock Lesnar to retain. I know a lot of people have had a lot of ideas, and they're all attractive, but the thing about attractive ideas is they're just that, ideas. So
everyone's talking about, is this going to be like another Eddie Brock situation where Braun will play the role of Goldberg and Finn will be in the role of Eddie, and he'll come out and cost Brock the title. I think that might happen at some point, but I don't think it'll be here. Like, I know that the WWE reuses storylines sometimes, but I think that their reuse of storylines happens less frequently than we expect. And we'll see they're just doing the, British Bulldog 91 build with this guy or whatever. Like, we always say that, it's always they're reusing this other storyline that they've used in the past. But truthfully, most of the time it's like a really vague similarity that doesn't really mean that they're reusing it. And with this, it's literally just Brock Lesnar versus small guy with big guy that wants to beat Brock looming. And I don't think that Braun is going to get involved in this at all, especially because we even just saw on Monday, Braun doesn't even like Finn anymore. So why would he help him win the title?
Exactly, dude. That was my exact thought process. And to be honest, I love Finn, and I'm loving that he's getting this crowd support. But people that are picking Finn, and I'm not trying to be mean. It's a genuine question. What is your outline? Because then you've got to account for the Rumble. Chamber, and Mania. Do you really see Finn Balor just all of a sudden going to Mania as Universal Champion? It's a nice vision, but like Brock is the final boss to me on the main event level. And a final boss like that screams Mania to me. They're keeping that fucking belt on him until the grand stage at least. And God, I hope it comes off him then, but who even fucking knows? So Brock to retain.
Yeah. All right. That's it for our first phase. That is all of our match predictions in and out of the way. But up next is our confidence points predictions regarding the Rumbles. We've got 2 Royal Rumbles to cover. John, I will let you determine which one we cover first, men's or women's.
You know what? Let's do women's first.
All right. I guess I went first for the Universal title prediction, so you can go first. Who is your number 1 entrant? Who do you think is going to be the first entrant in the Royal Rumble this year? In the Women's Rumble.
Now, I'll let you know before we really do a deep dive into this that all my point allocations were appropriate, so at least we won't be getting into that slippery slope. But my number 1 entrant is Bayley, and I put 6 points behind this.
How many?
6.
Okay. My mom and I actually both chose Mandy Rose to enter the Royal Rumble number 1. She put 6 points on it. I only put 4.
Oh, okay. So, wow, me and your mom actually agree right down to the point value. Sweet.
Well, no, you picked Bayley. She picked Mandy.
Oh, man, that's right. You said Mandy. Okay, but yeah, we both at least assigned 6 points. So that's at least interesting. We both have a similar
you guys both have you two share point value, but she and I share the actual pick, which is Mandy Rose.
I see. All right.
But that said, though, the reason that we picked Mandy Rose to be number 1 is because we also both picked Naomi to be the number 2 entrant. She put 5 points on that. I put 3.
See, now I went a bit interesting here. My number 2 entrant is Charlotte, and I gave that 2 points.
Okay.
So, yeah.
I like that, though, because Charlotte is a heel, so we still keep the heel-face dynamic. They're on opposite brands, which I think is an interesting thing, because I think they did that last year with Becky and Sasha. So that's actually really interesting, too. The first 2 women in the Royal Rumble, in the first 2 Royal Rumbles combined, are the 4 horsewomen, then, for you, if that comes true.
Yeah, and brother, I'll just say, kind of jump the gun just a tad, that I did the same structure for men's Rumble, like it's one SmackDown guy, one Raw guy, because I even looked at the most recent, the 2018 Royal Rumble. They did that exact same thing. I think they like to use number 1 and 2 not just as like work rate guys, as I think you said in our commentary last year, but really to already flesh out that Raw versus SmackDown dynamic that's inherent in this match. So,
do you know what's really funny, dude, is I know it's something that we both do, but I actually went back an extra year, and in 2016 it was 2 Raw guys.
Interesting. Okay.
And in 2016 it was a worker and a big man. It was not 2 workers.
Well, there are no rules with WWE.
That's kind of the conclusion I reached, and I stopped trying to think like, oh, what fits the trend, and it was more just like, what works, like what stories can they tell using those first 2. And I just think it would be really cool if you have Mandy Rose come out and Corey Graves is jizzing all over himself, and then Naomi's music hits, and the look on her face is this just holy fuck. And then Naomi eliminates Mandy before number 3 even comes out. So that's like a spoiler for who I think is going to last the least amount of time. That's later on. But then number 3 ends up being like a legitimately good worker that Naomi can just put on an entertaining 90-second match with.
Okay. Fair enough, man. Fair enough.
That's my like official, like what I really think is going to go down kind of thing.
Right.
So you went with Charlotte, and then you get to go first for number 29. Who do you have coming out at number 29, my friend?
Number 29, straight fire, Becky Lynch. Can I actually elaborate on this too real quick? Because I've been saying, and I want to make it, I guess, TWitWoW canon, you could say, that this is going to be Nia Jax's number, but Becky's going to take her out and take her spot. I know you kind of, maybe like talking about like the number 30s and stuff that it might be like something like that, but I don't know. I just see Becky kind of returning to her beef with Nia and kind of just taking her spot. This way it gets a nice pop from the crowd, because I think Nia still has like that X-Pac heat. So, that.
So does she like throw Nia off the stage or something?
Maybe just like beats her down in the back, you know, and the camera goes to the back, and then it's like, oh, well, then who's going to be number 29? And then Becky's music hits, and it gets like this raucous pop from the crowd. But I do think she'll come later, having already had a championship match, so it all kind of works out. And for point value, I did only give this 3 points, though. I did tell you before we went live, I played more of a conservative game this year. So while I'm confident, I'm not so confident to risk the whole game on this. So 3 points.
I like that, though. I do like that. So then my mom's choice at number 29, I love because it's somebody who hasn't been announced. It's somebody that we all kind of expect to be in it, and it's somebody who would be a surprise. Shayna Baszler.
Ooh, how many points did she put behind that, brother?
Only 2 points. She was good about it, but I was just like, oh, wow, I love that pick. That's so good.
All right, and then who do you got at number 29?
I picked Alexa Bliss at number 29, and I put 7 points on that.
All right. I actually really like that, dude. That's a great choice. Great choice.
Yeah, just because, you know, it's her first match back from the injury. They probably don't want her working too long, and, you know, she'll show up really, really late, get some of her shit in, and maybe even get some of her babyface shit in if she's turning face. Maybe eliminate Lacey Evans, something along those lines, and then get eliminated pretty quickly.
All right. Sounds good, man.
All right, up next is the longest lasting. Who do we think will be in there for the longest total amount of time? My mom's pick was Nikki Cross for 4 points. I thought that was interesting. And I ended up going with Ember Moon for 6 points.
I ended up going Bayley. I think she'll be the Iron Woman this year, and I only put 4 points behind it, though.
Okay, and by the way, to kind of explain my pick, I think Ember will enter at number 3 and be Naomi's opponent then after she eliminates Mandy early.
All right, very cool. And see, I picked Bayley, one, because I feel like she is that type of babyface that could get an early number but go to distance. And 2, it would be kind of symbolic because her best friend and tag partner was the Iron Woman last year at the inaugural Women's Rumble. So it's almost like, you know, now it's Bayley's turn. So I just thought Bayley would be a good pick. So good shit.
All right, so then we've got the least lasting, whoever is going to get eliminated in the least amount of time. So the time from their entrance to their feet touching the floor after they've been thrown over the top rope. Who will be in the Royal Rumble for the least amount of time?
I have Alicia Fox for this, and I gave it 5 points.
That's a great pick. I was really tempted to go with her too. I picked Mandy Rose based on my story that I'm trying to tell with the first 2 entrants, where Mandy comes out, then Naomi's music hits, Mandy freaks out, Naomi eliminates her before number 3 comes in, and then we get Ember, and we get Naomi Ember for a little while.
All right, I like it.
My mom's pick, by the way, was Dana Brooke. She put 1 point on Dana Brooke. I put 5 points on Mandy. So you and I actually put the same amount of points on the shortest lasting. That's pretty cool.
I actually would love if your mom was right and if Kyrie was the one that fucking dumped her out. Revenge for fucking last year. We don't forget,
there you
bitch.
go.
But next.
All right, now I'm curious if we all have the same answer for this one, John. Most eliminations, my mom and I actually shared an answer with this. We both chose Charlotte.
Here's the thing.
Oh boy.
I went a completely different route, but I made it a low risk pick. Okay. I actually picked Sonya Deville for like 1 point because I think her and Mandy are going to work together a lot, which is why I didn't even have Mandy for my shortest lasting, because I think she's going to survive long enough for Sonya to come out, and they're going to work together. But, you know, in that time, Sonya's really just going to, like, show her dominance, because it's clear that they're, like, really building her up to be the force of the group, whereas, like, Mandy's the one that puts her foot in her mouth. So, yeah, I think they're going to give Sonya quite a showing in the Rumble, just a gut feeling I have. Not a strong one, because, again, only 1 point.
Right, 1 point.
But, yeah. Most eliminations.
I felt so strongly about Charlotte having the most eliminations. I put 9 points on it, dude.
Dude, that's intense.
I know. My mom only put 3 points on Charlotte having eliminations. She was much less confident about it than I was. But I'm just like, it's Charlotte's first Royal Rumble, and last year the person with the most eliminations was Michelle McFucking-Cool. Of course, they're going to want to write her out of the record books with the only person that they want in the record books, which is Charlotte Flair.
Yeah, that's a fair point. That's a fair point.
I went with Charlotte for 9. But now we get to our final 4. So what I want you to do is I want you to start your final 4 with whoever you had the lowest number of points as far as who you're going to have in the final 4. So pick the person that you have in the final 4 that you've allocated the lowest number of points to talk about first.
Okay, let me just go over the point values here. Actually, this works out almost perfectly. Because the lowest number of points is Ember Moon in the final 4. I gave that 7 points.
Dude, my mom and I both have Ember in the final 4. with 8 points. So we're all very similarly confident that she'll be there.
Hooray, Ember. I hope she's in there, dude. She needs a better start to
dude. She deserves something.
Yeah.
After the year of nothing that she's gotten, it seems like.
Fuck yeah, dude. You said it perfectly. Something. Just do fucking something with this woman. For the love of God.
Yeah. Just continuing on people that we have in common, there's one other person that my mom and I both have listed as in our final 4, and that is Charlotte, who she has 10 points on. I have 11 points on Charlotte being in the final 4.
Oh, wow. That's a lot. Next highest point value for me, I think, it's Bayley in the final 4 with 8 points.
And my mom also has Bayley in her final 4 with 11 points. So, just to kind of backtrack, the person that I have in the final 4 with the lowest point value is Ronda. I have Ronda losing the Raw Women's title and entering the Royal Rumble, and I have her in my final 4. But because she hasn't been announced, I only put 2 points on her being in the final 4.
Oh, okay.
Like I predicted that Ronda would be in the Royal Rumble and obviously do well if I have her in the final 4. But just based on the fact that she hasn't even been announced to be in the match yet, I couldn't put that many points on it. So I only put 2 on it.
Okay, that makes sense. Because now we're getting to like the high point values for me. My next lowest, but we are getting in like fucking high territory for the final 4 was Charlotte at 9 points.
Okay, you do have Charlotte in your final 4, 9 points. My mom's next lowest would be Shayna Baszler, who she has 9 points on as well. And my next lowest would be, you know what? Actually, I only have one person left, and that's Nia. I have Nia Jax in my final 4 for 10 points.
Ew. I mean, I hope you get your points, but final 4, Becky for all 11 points. So I'm going.
So you're not. She's not even announced for the Rumble, and you're putting 11 points on her being in the final 4.
Yeah. The man ain't.
So you're betting on not only you being right about her not beating Asuka, but then also you being right about her being in the Rumble afterwards, and then you being right about her being in the final 4, and you're putting all 11 points on it.
Yes.
And this is you being reasonable with your point allocations.
Yes, it is.
Cool. Just wanted to make sure. My mom has Bayley as her final person in the final 4 with 11 points. So she is 100% confident Bayley's going to be in that thing.
All right. And then, I mean, last is the winner, of course.
Well, before we do our winners, I just want to go over and recap our final 4. So my final 4 is Nia Jax, Ember Moon, Charlotte Flair, and Ronda Rousey. Yours is Ember Moon, Bayley, Charlotte Flair, and Becky. So just to be clear, by the way, you have 3 faces and only 1 heel in that.
Yes.
And my mom's final 4 is Shayna Baszler, Ember Moon, Bayley, and Charlotte Flair.
All right.
And now let's talk about winners. My mom chose Bayley to win the Royal Rumble, which I loved because she then also, she chose Sasha. So she wants Bayley to go after Sasha. So it'd be interesting. The Royal Rumble winner and the Raw Women's Champion in a tag team. That it would be the perfect way to dissolve said tag team. My Royal Rumble winner, I again went out on a limb, but that's why I only put 1 point on it. Ronda Rousey, I think, is going to win the Royal Rumble and challenge the Raw Women's Champion, who I have being Becky Lynch. And somehow or another, Charlotte Flair is going to get involved, and we're going to get the triple threat on SmackDown.
Okay, and my Rumble winner, and I put 10 points on it, Becky Lynch. I've been saying for a while, Becky's going to win the Rumble, and this is the time to put up or shut up, and I'm putting a lot up. So, yeah, Becky to win the Rumble.
Yes, you are.
Man, though, if I am right, though, I'm pretty confident that I'll probably run away with this thing then, hopefully. So, let's go.
Right, but the thing is, like, you can't just... It's not like it's not even a given that Becky will be in the Rumble. So you're really out on a limb there.
Hey, but if I'm right though, I win big. So here's to hoping. But yeah, that's Women's Rumble, and when you're ready, we can do the same thing for the men's now.
All right. So then our Men's Rumble, I guess since you were the last person to talk about anything in the Women's Rumble, if you want to go first for the Men's Rumble.
Number 1 entrant, I gave this 6 points, Seth Rollins.
We all have Rollins entering number 1. Yes. Finally, an actual consensus. So you put 6 points on it. She put 4. I put 3.
Wow, that the number values are even pretty close to each other, all things considered. For my number 2 entrant, my confidence did diminish considerably, but I have Andrade entering number 2 at 2 points because I just think the idea of Seth and Andrade starting a Rumble off, I mean, I'm probably going to do the whole live reactions nude. So, you know, just being prepared.
See, this is where we all completely have different answers because you're going with a heel from SmackDown.
Yes.
My mom is going with a heel from Raw. And I'm going with a random SmackDown heel that's been missing in action for months that I think will return at the Rumble.
Interesting. Okay, so if I was to guess, knowing your mom, is the Raw heel Dean Ambrose?
Yes, it is. And she put 3 points on that.
Okay. And then who did you pick?
Do you want to venture a guess?
No. That'd take too much time. Who you got?
Brother Harper.
What? Oh,
yep.
That's interesting.
I was really tempted to go with Rowan, but I think that they're going to want more of a work rate match to start the thing out. So I just have Harper coming out and working with Rollins for 90 seconds.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense.
But to be fair, I only have 1 point on Harper because he's not announced. And I try not to put points on people who aren't announced. Like between the 2 Rumbles, I have a grand total of 6 points on people who have not been announced yet.
Well, that's good. I mean, obviously with the women's Rumble, I put a lot on Becky simply because I just think that's where it's going.
Yeah, you have 21 points on Becky, not only being in the Final Four but winning, and she might not even be in the thing. So,
hey, we'll see, man. We'll see. But just to clarify, because I don't know if I said this or not, with Andrade, I did only put 2 points.
You did say that. You did say that, and I have that written down. My mom has 3 points on Ambrose. I have 1 on Harper. So. Number 29 entrant. My mom and I actually both chose the same person, so I'm not even going to say it. I want you to tell us who you picked, and then I'll start with the point values before you.
Okay, for 3 points.
Just a name. Don't give me a point value. Just a name.
Okay, Samoa Joe.
Okay. We're not all on the same page, so that's interesting. My mom and I both chose Dolph Ziggler because he's not announced, but it would be such a Dolph Ziggler move to ruin a surprise like 29 there.
Yeah, that's fair.
She put 5 points on Ziggler. I only put 2 points on Ziggler because, again, he's not announced, and I want to be a little more weary about it. How many points did you put on Joe being number 29?
3 points.
3 points, okay. All right, and then we've got who will last the longest. This is probably going to be a unanimous one if I had to guess.
I went Seth Rollins again.
Yes, we all have Rollins. Now, I wonder if we have a unanimous point value here.
I don't think so, because I think you've already used this point value somewhere else. I only put 4 points on Seth.
Oh, okay. Then, yeah, my mom and I both have 9 on Rollins lasting the longest.
Okay.
All right, so who will last the least amount of time? I'll start with this one. My mom has Jinder Mahal lasting the least amount of time for 8 points. I thought that was a weird, like, overly confident pick, but mine was Baron Corbin lasting the least amount of time for 4 points.
Titus O'Neil, 5 points.
Oh man, he's gonna do some dumb shit and slip or something, isn't he?
Yeah, probably.
We got a $5 super chat from TPA Cliff. I want Joe to win the Rumble, not say who he's going after, but whoever wins between Balor and Joe. I'm assuming he means Balor and Brock. He chokes them out. Either feud can be revisited.
Dude, if they treated Samoa Joe better, my God, I'd be fixing my signature to that in a fucking heartbeat. But we're on most eliminations.
Most eliminations, yeah, go for it.
I really enjoyed this one, and looking back, maybe I could have put more confidence in this, but I kept it conservative with 1 point. Drew McIntyre, I think, is going to be a fucking machine gun, just throwing bodies left and right over the top rope. So Drew's my most eliminations guy this year.
So I have something in common with both you and my mom with this pick. I have the name in common with you. I also picked McIntyre. And I have the point value of 7 in common with my mom, but she picked Ambrose to have the most eliminations.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So you and I both picked McIntyre, but you only put 1 point on it. I put 7 points on it. She put 7 points on Ambrose. And I even told her after she made that pick, I think that Ambrose will come closer to 0 eliminations than the most.
Right. Yeah, I would agree with that.
All right. So let's talk about Final Fours. Let's try and keep this structured. I kind of fucked it up last time by, spouting out about, we all have Charlotte. So let's start with the least number of points. You've already allocated your 1 point value, but I can tell you my mom allocated 1 point to having AJ Styles in her Final Four.
Interesting.
Because
Okay.
again, she thinks Bryan is going to retain, so she thinks Styles will be in the Rumble and be in the Final Four.
All right, very cool. I like that. Okay, just to begin unpacking the Final Four with the least point value. Let me see. Okay.
Oh, you know what, dude? I already see. You've already used up your 1 through 6, so I know that you don't have a lower point value than me.
Okay.
I only allocated 5 points to Samoa Joe being in the Final Four.
Yeah, I have Samoa Joe in my Final Four as well. I only allocated 7 points to that, however.
Right. My mom put 2 points on Joe being in her Final Four. So we all have Joe in our Final Four.
That's very interesting, actually. I wasn't expecting that, to be honest.
So you have 7, she has 2, I have 5 on is 7. Yeah, that's your lowest. So all right. So then my mom has 1 point on Styles, 2 points on Joe. I have 5 points on Joe. You have 7 points on Joe. So who do you have your 8 points? Or is that not your winner? Is that never mind? Who's your next lowest Final Four?
And this is where I was kind of joking with your mom earlier before we went live, saying that she's a better person than me, because my Final Four for 8 points, I've got Andrade in my Final Four for 8 points.
Interesting. Okay.
Pulling the fucking trigger on it, baby. Let's do it.
I've got The Miz in my Final Four for also 8 points.
All right. Very cool.
All right. So who's your next lowest in your Final Four?
Next lowest would be Drew McIntyre at 9 points.
I also have McIntyre in my Final Four at 10 points. And then my mom's next lowest would be Seth Rollins at 10 points.
And that brings me to my Final Four participant. I've got Seth Rollins for all 11 of my points making it to the Final Four.
And I also have Seth Rollins for all 11 of my points in my Final Four. My mom's 11-point Final Four pick is Drew McIntyre. So let's just go over this. All 3 of us have Rollins, McIntyre, and Samoa Joe in our Final Fours. The difference is my mom has a point on AJ Styles. You have 8 points on Andrade, and I have 8 points on The Miz. That's incredible.
Yeah. Man, these Rumbles are going to be so fucking fun.
Okay, so that means that naturally, because it's the only possible outcome now is that you have Seth Rollins winning the Rumble for 10 points.
That's correct, yes.
Wow. Okay. Very interesting. I can tell you my mom chose Drew McIntyre to win the Royal Rumble for 6 points. I thought that was a really interesting choice.
Very cool. Very cool.
And I also chose Seth Rollins to win the Royal Rumble for 6 points.
All right. I like it, man. I like it. It's going to be a fun game this year.
Oh, Cliff has the same Final Four as I have. Seth, Drew, Miz, and Joe.
Yeah, and he says it's a perfect 2 Raw guys and 2 SmackDown guys. Yeah, and oh man, is there anything else that you want to talk about when it comes to Rumble? Because I know there's going to be so much going on Sunday, but I feel like we covered a lot of it here with our Rumble picks and all that.
Yeah, I'm really excited about Sunday, and really, this is I would say probably the first time ever that I am genuinely more excited for the WWE pay-per-view than its NXT TakeOver counterpart in the same weekend. I don't ever happen before.
Yeah, and I'm the exact same way as you, given the points. So speaking of point allocation, right? The hype levels that I've given for both these shows. Phoenix is only 9.5. I gave this Rumble a fucking 10 out of 10. I am like a little kid again waiting for this Royal Rumble. It's amazing.
It's crazy how they've really recaptured that feeling of being a kid in the Royal Rumble coming up.
Hell yeah. I mean, and dude, what perfect time, because it's the beginning, right, of like the road to WrestleMania. So I am ready for this shit. I want to thank everybody that came out and listened to us. I could see people making their predictions in chat. When the video's done processing, if you want to like repost your predictions like as comments, I'd love to know, where people are coming from. That's really cool to see.
You know what? I think Alex Foster had a great idea. Why don't we predict, or at least attempt to predict? We won't put any points in the line or anything. Let's try and predict what the surprise entrants are going to be this year.
I definitely think Bray is going to be one for the men's. So I'll say Bray, and for the NXT surprise, I'll go Velveteen Dream this year, because he so far isn't even on TakeOver, so that would keep him really fresh for the Rumble, and he could really show his stuff. So I'll say Bray and Velveteen for the men's. I'll keep it 2-2. So those are my 2 surprises for the men's, although they're
okay. Well, I'll tell you my 2 surprises for the men's then: Aleister Black and Adam Cole.
Okay, you've got Aleister and Cole. You want to get your mom in on this, or do you want to just keep it to you and I as far as these surprises go? Because
my mom is saying Aleister Black and Tommaso Ciampa will both be in the Royal Rumble.
Interesting. So they could just carry right over from the night before. That's interesting.
Maybe not necessarily around the same time, but she's just thinking they'll both be in the Rumble.
I think surprises for women's.
So you're only going to predict 2 men?
I'm only going to, again, if you want to predict more, that's fine. But me, I'm just going to.
You did say Bray. You did say Bray, and I'll sign on to that. I also think both Bludgeon Brothers are probably going to be in it because I've heard that they've both been cleared, which is why I picked Harper to be number 2.
Right, right.
We got a $5 super chat from TPA Cliff. Also, I can see Shayna and the Horsewomen dominating the Rumble at one point like CM Punk and the Nexus did. I'll tell you what, I was really tempted to make my Women's Royal Rumble Final 4 be Shayna, Ronda, Bayley, and Charlotte. And we get a Horsewomen versus Horsewomen face-off with Bayley squaring off with Shayna, so that we have a heel-face dynamic there. And then Charlotte squaring off with Ronda, and there's another heel-face dynamic. I would have loved that. The only reason that I backed off of that is because it's like that's too cool of an idea for the WWE to actually go with it to me.
Right. With women, again, I'll keep it to 2, 1 NXT and then just 1 general surprise. I think for NXT, you know what? I've been really liking this idea, and I'm just going to go with it. I think Io is going to be the one for the NXT women. I think that'd be really fucking cool for her. And for just the general surprise, who could they take out for this? I'll go Trish again. She may work another Rumble because I think her and Lita still have deals with the company, if I'm not mistaken, and she may want to give another run at being in a Rumble. So I will say Io and Trish, even though I hope Kairi's in it again, but I'm not getting my hopes up too much. So what about you? What surprises do you think they'll have for the women's?
Well, my mom just changed her mind from Ciampa to Dream, so now her official prediction is Aleister Black and Velveteen Dream to be.
I love that because, dude, if they have a stare down and that whole thing, that really at least the NXT pockets of the crowd, which I don't know how many that would be a really cool moment.
You know what? I would guess around 20%.
Yeah, that'll be a cool moment for them. So back to what I asked you though, what about surprises for you for the women? What are you thinking?
I think Shayna's a lock.
Interesting. Okay.
Whether she wins on Saturday or not, I think that Shayna is going to be in the Royal Rumble. Because we've got to remember, Andrade was in the Rumble last year as the NXT champion. So I don't think that just because you hold or retain or win a championship the day before, that doesn't disqualify you from being in the Rumble.
That's certainly true. Certainly true.
So I think Shayna is going to be in the Rumble. I think she'll probably be the only NXT Full Sail woman. I would give Toni Storm a genuine shot to be in the Rumble. And I think like a low-key possibility, since we know she's signed now, Jazzy Gabbert, dude.
Yeah, that's a great point. I
like imagine her getting in the Rumble and her ended up with the most eliminations because she just shows up and dominates until everyone gangs up on her.
Dude, I really like Jazzy and the NYC. I'd pop for that shit. I'd be into that.
As far as like the legend types, though, low-key, I wouldn't be surprised if Victoria was in it for like a Hall of Fame run.
Oh, nice. Cool.
Because she's retiring after this year, so I'm guessing they might, if they want to induct her into the Hall of Fame, which they fucking should, but if they do, it would make sense for her to be in the Rumble one last time and then be inducted on WrestleMania weekend. That would make a lot of sense.
You know what, dude? I'm actually really glad you said that because, you know what? I know I said I limited myself to 2, but that was merely a self-imposed thing. I'll actually sign on with you about Victoria because here's the thing. I thought she retired already. I didn't know that her retirement was like this year. So yeah, it'd be a good little like farewell thing because the division that she really did contribute substantively to, like with her character and her in-ring work. Yeah. She deserves a nod like this. And honestly, I hope my pick of Trish still happens so that they can have a stare down. Like I love those like awkward Rumble stare downs and all the chaos going on. It's like, I know you. And then they kill each other. So
you know who I really want to see though that wasn't in last year's Rumble as far as legends go is Alundra Blaze.
Ooh, that would be really cool.
She wasn't in last year's, was she? I don't think she.
No, I don't think she was. No.
Yeah, that would definitely be my pick. So I'm going to be picking Shayna Baszler, Toni Storm, Jazzy Gabbert, Victoria, and Alundra Blaze as the 5 surprises that will be left after you include the 23 women that have already been announced, plus the losers of the championship matches on top of that.
Nice. Yeah.
I'm actually predicting the entire rest of the Rumble. That's kind of crazy because that's all 30 women then.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, man, I can't wait for this. It's gonna be so much fun.
As far as the men go, I'm going with Aleister Black, Adam Cole. JBL is going to be at ringside, so I'll pick him to be an entrant. Let's see. My mom is picking Lita to be in the Women's Rumble, and Trish and Shayna are her 3 surprise picks.
Honestly, dude, I get more confident in Trish too because with Alexa being cleared, they may want to have that little bit of interaction that they never got to have at Evolution because Alexa was dealing with the concussions at the time.
Yeah, so. I mean, that's possible. I think me not picking Trish is more out of hope than anything because I'm just done with her.
Right.
Because she was around for a hiccup and didn't do anything helpful or productive.
Right.
Hey, Cliff, we get it. You want Mia Yim to be in it. I understand. I'm not picking Mia, which is why I haven't mentioned her because I don't think she's going to be in it because she's brand new to NXT. But it's cool that you want her to be in it. I hope she's in it for you, Cliff. I really do.
Yeah.
Let's see. Who else might be as far as the men go? Because I already did my 5 women's picks. Like, my 5 women's picks are locked and sealed. The men, though, Aleister Black, Adam Cole, JBL. Who else might be in it? I'm trying to think of like legends that it might be like somewhat relevant these days that might get like a Big Show. Christ, he'll probably be in it too. I don't know if he's injured or anything, but Big Show's a possibility. I guess the Bludgeon Brothers count as 2 surprises. Dude, do you realize that there are only 19 men announced for the Rumble? Like the Wikipedia says 20, but they're including John Cena, and they already said that he won't be in it.
Interesting. Unless, do you think that's like a work to make it more miraculous that he did
participate? No, like from what I understand, they legitimately are like it's a worked injury, but they did it to write him out of the Rumble.
You know what I love too? We've been recording for nearly an hour, and on the subject of men's, like I guess just the existence of AEW killed any discussion of Kenny being in this thing because I haven't.
Well, yeah, and then not only that, but also because his NJPW contract doesn't run out until the 31st, so it would be highly illegal for him to be in the Rumble unless WWE and New Japan come to like some kind of crazy fucking deal. But that would still like, how do you avoid that being tampering? You know?
Right? Yeah, for sure.
So, Anyway, you know, we have like 10 or 11 mystery entrants for the men, which is why it's more difficult, I think, to pick because, like, I really don't think the guys like Owens and Zayn are going to be cleared in time, and it actually kind of annoys me that they even bothered airing vignettes for those guys. Ella, that's a really genuinely good one. I honestly, dude, I considered making Lars my number 2 entrant instead of Harper because I think that from what I've read, he's basically got an open invitation. Like whenever he is in a mental place that he can come back, he's welcome back. But like, we don't know if that's true. We don't know what the real story is. So I am staying away from speculation on that situation entirely.
Right. Yeah, man, that's understandable. I did hear rumors that Kurt might participate.
That's a good one. Kurt Angle's a good guess.
Yeah.
He might even be the reason that my prediction of Baron Corbin lasting the least amount of time will come true. That would be funny if Kurt shows up just to eliminate Corbin.
Yeah. Oh my God, Baron. Yeah, man.
Oh, really, you know what? Hawkins and Ryder might be in it.
Yeah, that's a good pick. That's a good pick.
They haven't been announced yet officially, so they might be in it. 1 or 2 of the Usos might be in it. There are a lot of options. I wonder if any cruiserweights will be in it. Like maybe like Buddy Murphy enters the Royal Rumble, whether he retains the title or not. Maybe he enters it. Do we have any guesses as far as like what I predicted with Jazzy Gabbard in the women's, like a new signing who might skip NXT and just go straight to the Rumble?
Now, are you asking specifically for the women's or just in general? Like
no, for the men's Rumble. For the men's Rumble.
New signings that just skip, huh? No, I can't really think of anybody. You know what's funny?
Maybe Riddle shows up in the Rumble?
You think that would be too much too fast though? Like I adore Riddle.
Well, I don't think he would stay. I think it would be like what Adam Cole did last year. Like you have a great match the night before and then you show up in the Rumble all battered and bruised and you put on a good showing, but you get eliminated within like 10 or 15 minutes.
I mean, given that his opponent's Cassius Ohno, maybe they should give him a longer rub in the Rumble so that they could compensate for wasting his time. Yeah, I don't know. You know, dude, it's crazy because with the Rumble, I even think about like really obscure bit. Like I'm even thinking like we haven't heard from Jason Jordan in a minute. I wonder if like he's been like medically cleared, or if he's just a producer full time now and he's just never gonna step in a ring again. Because Jason Jordan was another guy I thought about. Maybe.
Yeah, I haven't heard any kind of news on whether he's been cleared or anything, so I wouldn't put anything on him.
Right. Yeah, I
got to tell you, Foster, I don't think WWE has any interest in putting Ono on a main roster product when he's in the shape he's in right now.
Yeah, I think he's an NXT legitimizer right now. Probably will be for the rest of his career. So
Keith Lee would be interesting in the Rumble, though.
I actually really like Kid Coheed's idea that the people like certain cruiserweights, like Buddy Murphy in the Rumble, that would be really cool. That would be really cool seeing Buddy Murphy in there. And especially it's not without precedent because I believe it was just the 2018 Rumble where we had Jack Gallagher in the Rumble. So, you know,
wait, was he?
Yeah, because he did that whole spot with Jericho and the umbrella, if you remember.
That wasn't last year, though, was it? That was 2 years ago. Yeah, that was 2017.
Either way, though, I mean, that does still set a fairly early precedent for cruiserweights being in the Rumble, so I'm not discounting Kid Coheed's idea.
No, yeah, I'm not against cruiserweights being in the Rumble at all. I even mentioned like maybe Buddy Murphy after possibly retaining or possibly losing the title or something, he gets into the Rumble and does some cool stuff.
Right.
There weren't any cruiserweights in last year's Rumble, though, interestingly enough.
Yeah, but you know what, though? Now they're going back, I think, to like mixing a little bit more. Well, I mean, Mustafa was the big thing because now he's officially on SmackDown Live.
He's officially in the Rumble, too.
I wonder if Humberto Carrillo will be in there. They're kind of putting him everywhere.
They're really putting the spotlight on him. That would be interesting. Maybe. I don't know. All right. I'm getting kind of bored with the speculation. How about you?
Yeah, me too. I'm ready to wrap this up.
All right, guys. We hope you all enjoyed our preview and predictions. John, I would, you know, if you have anything else that you want to say before I do our outro, you can go for it right now.
No, I just want to thank everybody that showed up. You guys are amazing. And again, we have 25 people watching now. If you haven't yet liked the video, please do so. We would immensely appreciate it. And if you want to post your Rumble predictions and just your speculations in the comments when this video is done processing, I completely welcome it. I encourage it. It's not only legal, it's allowed. So yeah, share what's going on in your heads. What are you guys thinking about the first step on the road to WrestleMania? And we will see you in just shy of an hour for Impact Wrestling live reactions. Last one for the month of January. So we'll see you in a little bit, and I'm going to hand it over to Ashton and take us home.
Absolutely, guys. We all are really looking forward to the Royal Rumble. It's going to be a really great show, I hope. I hope they don't let us down, which would be just such a WWE thing to do, but really hoping that they kind of live up to the high expectations that we have right now. Really excited. We hope that you enjoyed this preview and predictions, and we would appreciate it as well. First of all, if you would leave a like if you did enjoy it and subscribe and all that fun stuff. But most importantly, leave that comment down in the description and down in the comment section to let us know what you are predicting for the Royal Rumble this year. We've got 2 days before the Rumble. And as far as, you know what, John, I actually did want to bring this up. I'm curious what you think the match order will be. Like, don't tell me like the whole match order because that'll drag on forever. But what parts of the show do you think the Rumble matches will happen on?
I think men's Rumble main event this year because women's Rumble main evented last year, so they got that out of the way. I think women's Rumble will actually open the show. I think they'll open the show with the Rumble match. And then the Universal Championship will be semi-main. And I think I'll just stop there.
And interestingly enough, I'm the exact opposite because here's the thing. Like, do you remember earlier when I said, I could see one of two possible routes for the women, and you know, mine is one and the other one is both champions retain and then someone else wins the Rumble? Well, I kind of harkened back to something that you told me about, speculation that they might do the Orton Batista finish with Charlotte and Becky in the Rumble. So I think if both champions retain, that's the most likely outcome for the Rumble.
Right.
So that, and whether that happens, or if my prediction comes true and Ronda wins, or if your prediction comes true and Becky wins, I think that the WWE would want that to go on last. So I am predicting the Women's Rumble to main event the show again for the second year in a row. And because of that, I'm predicting that the Men's Rumble will be in the middle of the show, like third match maybe.
Okay. All right. That's very interesting, man. We'll see how it all breaks down. But I mean, dude, beginning tomorrow, everything just pops off. I mean, we got a little bit of...
I'll tell you what, though, dude. I think the WWE Championship match is going to be the curtain jerker on the main card.
I think that would be smart too, honestly, because I mean you've got two quality workers in Styles and Bryan, and one of them could be in the men's rumble later on. So you get the crowd hot in the best way possible, and then you preserve one of these guys to be in the rumble match later. So good shit.
Actually, you know what? I will tell you my exact match order on the main card. I think that we're going to get the WWE title and then the SmackDown Women's title, which I think Becky is going to win. Then the men's rumble. Then the women's championship on Raw, which I think Becky is going to cost Ronda. Then the tag titles, the SmackDown tag titles. Actually, you know what? Then I would do the Universal title, then the tag titles as a cooldown match, then the Women's Rumble. So that's my official prediction for the match order of the main card.
All right. Actually, before we get out, I just wanted to feel to you because Mark Schoeneman was inquiring about the numbers that we drafted for the Rumble. So do you want to
of course. Yeah. Okay. So for the Men's Rumble, I have the numbers 1, 29, 11. You know what? I'm going to try and go in order here. 1, 3, 5, 11, 18, 23, 24, 27, 29, and 30. I really loaded up on the really early numbers and the really late numbers. John has 2, 4, 6, 7, 12, 16, 17, 19, 22, and 28. My mom has 8, 9, 13, 14, 15. 8, 9, 10, 13, 14, 15, 20, 21, 25, and 26. So that's for the men's rumble. For the women's rumble, I have 3, 5, 8, 17, 19, 24, 26, 28, 29, and 30. John has 1, 2, 4, 6, 10, 11, 12, 20, 22, and 27. And my mom has 7, 9, 13, 14, 15, 16, 18, 21, 23, and 25. So there we go, guys. There are the numbers officially. We got a $2 super chat from Cliff. Final 5 is Shayna and the 4 Horsewomen. And the 4 Horsewomen gang up on Shayna. So as far as the 4 Horsewomen, he's referring to Becky, Bayley, Charlotte, and Sasha. So he thinks that all 4 of those women are going to be in the Royal Rumble and basically gang up on Shayna Baszler in the final 5. So interesting decision. I can appreciate the creativity there, Cliff. That all being said, though, any final thoughts, John, before we close this out?
No, brother. Take us home.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we hope you enjoyed. We will see you in about 50 plus minutes for our Impact Live reaction, the last one of the month. Possibly the last one in a while, depending on how things go in February's voting polls. But that should be fun. We hope you enjoyed this. If you did, remember to leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you're new, click that bell icon to join the notification squad. And of course, leave that comment down in the comment section below to let us know what you are predicting to happen at this Royal Rumble. Tell us your match predictions. Tell us your entrant number predictions. Tell us your elimination predictions. Who's going to have the most? Who's going to get eliminated fast? Who's going to last the longest? That kind of stuff. Tell us, who you think the surprise entrants are going to be, all that fun stuff. We want to know what all of you guys think will happen on this show. I'm very excited for it. And of course, you can also follow us both on Twitter for any updates. John's Twitter has a pinned tweet that you can reply to ask Q&A questions to. That's 3 if you are not a patron, or 5 if you are. You can check out my Twitter. My pinned tweet is the TWitWoW schedule, which will be updating every time we find out something new coming up. And I actually still have to update it because this coming Thursday, John and I will be live reacting to the episode of NXT UK that will be airing on the WWE Network this coming Wednesday. There was a bit of a scheduling conflict that didn't allow us to live react to it on Wednesday, but it's all good. We'll just be doing it on Thursday instead. So it won't be live, but you'll still get our fresh reactions to NXT UK from this coming week on Thursday. We have another commentary tonight with Impact live reactions, and then we've got a live reaction and a review tomorrow night to the Women's Wrestling Revolution show, The Show Must Go On. And then, of course, tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, live reaction to TakeOver Phoenix. And then on Sunday, we will be live reacting to the Royal Rumble. And the way we're going to do that is the way we've been doing it. We will live react to the pre-show matches individually. So that'll be a separate hangout for Rusev Nakamura, and then a separate hangout for the Cruiserweight 4-way. And then the entire main show of the Royal Rumble will be all on one episode, on one video. So that's how we're going to handle that. Monday and Tuesday, we'll be live reacting to Raw and SmackDown respectively. Wednesday, we have nothing, but then Thursday, we will be live reacting to Wednesday's episode of NXT UK. That's all we've got for you guys for the next week. And if that's not enough, I don't know what to tell you, because that is so much content that we are going to be putting out in just the next 6 days. It's kind of insane. So we hope that you're all looking forward to that. I know we are. If you would like to support the channel, you can buy the merch on Teespring. You can donate to the Patreon. Lots of perks to that. You know, you get more questions in the Q&A. You get voting power in the polls every month to determine what we live react to. You get your donations accumulating so that you can ask that we live react to something specifically, like what the Chiefin did to get us to live react to this coming week's episode of NXT UK. You know, if you donate $3, you get our Patreon Discord access, so you can get into the Discord and talk to a bunch of other hardcore TWitWoW fans that decided that their $3 a month was worth access to that same Discord. It's a pretty great little community that we've got. And finally, we would appreciate it if you would share this video and this channel with all your wrestling fan friends and let them in on the best kept secret in the YouTube wrestling community. That's right. We are TWitWoW, and we are the workhorses of the YWC. And we will see you guys later on for Impact. Or if you don't like Impact, tomorrow for either the Show Must Go On, the Women's Wrestling Revolution show, or NXT TakeOver Phoenix. Or if you're only here for main roster content, that's fine too. We'll see you Sunday. But no matter what you decide to stick around for, that's what's important, is that you do, in fact, remember to stay tuned.